Welcome to Empires Explained, a channel dedicated to uncovering the mysteries behind the rise and fall of the greatest empires in human history. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for fascinating videos every Wednesday. 53 BC, the Parthian Empire reigns supreme in the Near East, its dominion stretching from the Euphrates to the Indus. But lurking across the deserts, a formidable adversary waits in the shadows, the Roman Republic, nursing wounds from the humiliating defeat at the Battle of Carrhae. Yet, in the aftermath of their setback, Rome does not wallow in defeat. Instead, they quietly build their strength, honing their tactics and marshalling their forces for a decisive strike. The Parthian, the noble houses, continue their relentless power struggles, each vying for dominance and the coveted throne. They scheme and plot against one another, their focus drifting from external threats, leaving the empire vulnerable to the cunning machinations of Rome. With tensions simmering and the stage set for a clash of empires, the Roman legions stand poised to unleash their fury upon the Parthian lands. As the sun sets over the Mesopotamian plains, the fate of nations hangs in the balance. Join us as we delve into the fall of the Parthian Empire, where the mightiest powers of the ancient world collide. The end of the Roman Republic. Within a few years of the Battle of Carrhae, Caesar and Pompey clash in warfare over the fate of Rome. This civil war rages on for 4 years, from 49 to 45 BC. In 44 BC, Caesar is elected dictator for life. However, he is unable to enjoy the title, being assassinated by rivals in 44 BC as he prepares for his expedition in Parthia. Caesar's death leads to turmoil in Rome as his grandson Octavian leads an expeditionary force against Caesar's conspirators. In 31 BC, Octavian wins a major battle against Mark Antony and the ruler of Egypt, Cleopatra, at the naval battle of Actium. Realizing the power in his hands, Octavian is decreed as Augustus Princeps by the Roman Senate. He is now Augustus, the ruler of Rome, thereby weakening the powers of the Roman Senate. This nullifies the Roman Republic, but for the Roman people, the defeat at Carrhae requires avenging. As the Roman civil war rages on, Parthia mounts an invasion on Roman territory in Syria. Little progress is made. Orodes II remains ruler of Parthia until 37 BC, when his son Phraates IV takes his place. Immediately, he has his half-brothers murdered to secure his position. A brief rebellion takes place by Tiridates II. This is swiftly crushed. Tiridates flees to Roman Syria with one of the king's sons taken as hostage. Many expect Emperor Augustus to wage war against the Parthians. However, instead, in 20 BC, he begins negotiations with the Parthians, who are in control of the Iranian plateau. This culminates in the return of the 7 legionary standards captured at Carrhae in return for the king's son. Augustus also sends Phraates an Italian slave girl, Musa. Musa persuades the Parthian king to send his first 4 sons to Rome as hostage to secure the future of her son. In 2 BC, she poisons Phraates. She, alongside her son, become the co-rulers of the Parthian Empire. He is now Phraates V. The Parthian nobility do not take kindly to this, leading to Musa and Phraates V flee to Rome. The throne of Parthia is now occupied by Orodes III. His reign is short as he is killed in 6 BC. With no obvious successor, the eldest of Phraates IV, who is still a political hostage in Rome, returns as King Vorones I. However, he is not taken to by the Parthian people as he is seen as closer to Roman than Parthian. A brief civil war breaks out and Vorones is deposed. He is replaced by Artabanus II. Vorones flees to Armenia, where with Roman support, he becomes king. Artabanus objects to this as he wishes to see his own son become the king of Armenia. In response, Augustus's successor, Tiberius, sends his stepson Germanicus to Parthia with a large army. However, Germanicus does not engage in the war many expected. Instead, he negotiates a peace treaty with the Parthians. Despite the treaty, Artabanus does not give up on establishing his family as the king of Armenia. In 35 BC, Artabanus again raises an army to assault Armenia. Recognizing this would inevitably lead to war with Rome. The Parthian nobility rebels, and the grandson of Phraates IV, Tiridates III, is installed as the king of Parthia. Once again, the new king is educated in Roman ways, leading to widespread opposition to his ascendancy. Tiridates is swiftly deposed and Artabanus returns. However, he does not sit on it for long, as he is deposed once again and replaced by Gotarzes II. He too is also deposed by Artabanus's son, Vardanes I. He oversees one of the most turbulent periods in Parthian history, confrontation in Armenia. Vardanes I immediately faces a set of daunting challenges. The most pressing is the rival claim made by the son of Artabanus II, Gotarzes. Vardanes is immediately usurped by Gotarzes. However, Vardanes is capable of raising an army in swift fashion and defeats the usurper in battle. Gotarzes flees as Vardanes is unable to kill or capture him. In Armenia, Vardanes' brother Orodes is deposed by the new Roman emperor Claudius and replaces him with a new king, Mithridates, who is more willing to accept Roman control. In response, Vardanes prepares to launch a full-scale invasion of Armenia. In the end, however, he is deterred by the threat of a full-scale war with the Roman governor of Syria and is distracted by the continuing clashes with the forces of Gotarzes inside Parthia. In 46 BC, Vardanes is assassinated by Parthian nobles. Once again, Gotarzes is king of Parthia. He reigns for 5 years before he dies in 51 BC. He is briefly replaced by his uncle Varones II, who also dies a few months later. The new king reigns in Parthia for over 25 years. Finally, Parthia has a stable king. Immediately, he begins rebuilding Parthia, which has become weakened due to the infighting amongst rival claims to the throne. In 53 BC, finally the invasion of Armenia begins. This draws a quick response from Rome, where another emperor takes the throne, Nero. He appoints Gnaeus Domitius Corbulo, one of Rome's greatest generals, to lead a Roman invasion of Armenia. The Roman army has learnt much from the defeat in Carrhae. Roman armies now include much larger cavalry forces who are better trained to deal with fast-moving enemies. However, Corbulo, who is in Roman Syria, is horrified by the poor training standard. He spends 2 years going through intensive training before he attacks Armenia. The Roman invasion begins in 58 BC. This time, the Romans prove their invincibility on the battlefield. The city of Artaxata is sacked in 59 BC. Tiridates leads a Parthian counter-offensive the following year that fails miserably. Armenia is now under Roman control in 60 BC. The new Armenian king is Tigranes. He soon makes it clear he is prepared to use the backing of Rome to expand his territory. In 61 BC, he attacks the border between Armenia and Adabene, an ally of the Parthians. The loss of Armenia is a serious blow to the Parthian Empire, and the king, Vologases I. Although he is facing a fierce internal opposition, he still launches a powerful invasion of Armenia in 62 BC. By this time, Corbulo, the Roman general, has been replaced by his less capable successor, Lucius Caesarius Paetus. Paetus suffers a terrible defeat against the Parthians, forcing Emperor Nero to accept a new peace treaty in 64 BC. Tiridates once again rules over Armenia. However, he's forced to agree that a Roman garrison will be stationed on a permanent basis within his country. The new treaty marks an important challenge in the relationship between Rome and Parthia. It would lead to almost 50 years of peace. Vologases I establishes a cordial relation with Nero's successor, Emperor Vespasian. The Romans face a Jewish revolt in Judea. This leads to Vologases offering support to the Romans with 40,000 horse archers. This offer is declined by the Roman, but Parthia is ready to offer support to the Romans. However, this is not reciprocated. In 72 BC, the Parthians face an unexpected invasion from a tribe in northern Iran, the Alans. The The Parthians, who are all cavalry, struggle to repel them. Armenia is briefly occupied by the Alans. Vologases seeks assistance from Rome, who decline. Vologases dies in 78 BC and is replaced by his son, Pacorus II. As the Alans withdraw, Armenia come back under Parthian control. However, even though they have secured peace with Rome, stability cannot be found in Parthia. The fall of Parthia. Pacorus II rules as king of Parthia for over 30 years. However, he faces numerous challenges. In his early reign, he faces armed rebellions by his brother Vologases II and another by Parthian noble Artabanus II. They are defeated, but in 109, another rebellion breaks out in Parthia. A Parthian noble, Osroes, gathers a large army in the western provinces and attempts to control the whole state. Pacorus II dies the following year and is replaced by Vologases III, his son. He must deal with a new insurrection. This leads to a stalemate, with Vologases ruling over the eastern provinces, while Osroes declares himself over the western provinces, which now included Armenia and Mesopotamia. Osroes, shortly into his reign, is offended by the Roman Emperor Trajan by installing a new king in Armenia without approval. Sensing Parthian weakness, Trajan launches an invasion of Armenia in 114. The invading Roman army faces little resistance from Osroes, and the country is quickly occupied. Trajan announces Armenia is no longer an independent kingdom and is now a Roman province. The Roman army continues to move into Parthian territory, occupying large parts of Mesopotamia. In 116, Trajan declares the war with Parthia to be over and Rome victorious. This proves to be premature, as Osroes is still in command of a large army. Trajan dies in 117. He is succeeded by Hadrian, who has no desire to continue the costly Roman occupation of Armenian and Parthian lands. A new peace treaty is concluded with Osroes that sees Roman forces withdraw from the territories taken by Trajan. Once again, the Euphrates River is the border between the two empires. Osroes dies in 129, and Vologases III once again becomes the king of Parthia. Finally, it seems the empire is destined for peace. Vologases IV becomes the next king through a coup. Initially, he seems to avoid conflict with Rome and is focused on Parthian strength as regional dominance with an invasion of the kingdom of Characene. In 161, he unexpectedly declares war on Rome. Parthian forces quickly take over Armenia and replace the Roman chosen king with one of Vologases' sons. Parthian forces launch an invasion into Roman Syria. Rome responds with a counter-invasion that seems it will destroy the Parthian Empire in 164. However, Roman forces are destroyed by a plague in the region that then spreads through the Roman Empire. Rome is forced to withdraw. It is not until 197 when Emperor Septimius Severus of Rome launches an invasion of Mesopotamia. This has limited territorial gains. Rome withdraws from Syria. The final war between the two empires is prompted by yet another division in Parthia. Vologases VI is forced to deal with an insurrection by his brother Artabanus IV. Roman Emperor Caracalla invades Mesopotamia during this conflict in Parthia. The war rages on for several years in the Battle of Nisibis in 217. The Parthians are able to defeat a large Roman army in Nisibis. Caracalla is murdered by his own troops and replaced by Emperor Macrinus, who quickly makes peace with Parthia. The Battle of Nisibis is the final confrontation between the two empires, ending as it did before, with a Parthian victory. However, the Parthians suffer huge losses at Nisibis, which weakens their military power. Even though Parthia will never face another Roman invasion, it is about to face its most unexpected challenge. Vologases VI and Artabanus IV continue their bloody civil war. They pay little attention to a rebellion in a Parthian-controlled province, Persis. Ardashir, a local military leader, establishes his own rule and quickly takes control over Persis. He then invades neighboring Kerman. Artabanus orders the governor of Susa to attack Persis and crush the rebellion. Instead, Ardashir defeats the Parthian forces, kills the governor and adds Susa to their territory. He moves to invade Karasin and add to their growing territory. Finally, Aratbanus IV recognizes the growing threat to Parthia. In 224, he leads a Parthian army to face Ardashir. They meet at the Battle of Mornozgan. Ardashir is victorious, Artabanus is killed. The armies of Ardashir advances towards the territory controlled by Vologases VI. By 228, he is completely defeated. Ardashir and his descendant move to create a new empire, the Sasanian Empire. It supplants the Parthian Empire in 228, the year it meets its end. Its sudden demise was unexpected. The victory at the Battle of Nisibis in 217 is thought to have brought about the peace the empire sought after, but within 10 years, it has come to its end. In truth, the continuing war with Rome, the internal battles and the losses of territory led to its demise over the course of the 100 years after the Battle of Carrhae. The new Sasanian Empire soon sets to reconquer lands lost to the Achaemenid Empire, quickly bringing the Sasanians into conflict with the Roman Emperor Julian. Legacy. It is under the Parthian rule that the first contact is made with China and the West through the Silk Road. It involves the transfer of goods in both directions and the spread of new ideas. The Chinese become aware of the success of the Parthian cavalry, leading to the development of their own. Language that emerges during the Parthian Empire spreads, becoming the basis of Iranian language before Muslim conquests. Parthian architecture, as well as style of dress, spreads beyond the empire, and many forms of what is now considered traditional dress originates in the Parthian Empire. With the impact of the Parthian Empire on the world, it is a wonder as to how the empire has become forgotten through the ages. Part of the answer lies in its lack of written records. With the Sasanian Empire established, much of Parthia is destroyed deliberately to promote the Iranian culture. The destruction of their source material is further compounded by the fact the Parthian Empire is not considered Persian in the manner the Achaemenid and Sasanian empires are. Even though the Parthians controlled much of the Iranian plateau, they originate as nomadic horsemen from the east of present-day Iran. Although they remain in power for 400 years, the Parthians are treated as an interim polity between the true Persian empires. In the end, the Parthian Empire is one of the largest empires in human history. They stood against the mighty Romans, impacted the world's culture, and laid the path for the empire to come.